Hi everyone, I want to go over the case of Patti Adkins. She's been missing. It'll be 20 years in June that she has been missing. And I want to bring some attention back to this case and have you aware that she's still out there missing. And that's coming up next. Patricia Patti Adkins, she went missing from Marysville, Ohio, back on June 29th, 2001. Now, Patti worked at the Honda automotive plant in Ohio, and she was very excited to leave that evening because, and she left around midnight. She was very excited about leaving because she had a trip planned. The plant was going to be closed the following week, a shutdown that they usually did every year. So the employees got a week off. And she had big plans. She was going to go to Canada with her boyfriend on that week. She told her friends this. She told her family about this. They all knew about the relationship. They also knew that Patti's boyfriend was also married. But, that they didn't get in the middle of that, but they just were supportive of Patti and her excitement to go on this trip. And her sister even said she would babysit Patti's daughter so she could go. So the Union County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Jeff Stiers, he told Dateline when they did a story a while back that Patti had been planning a trip with her boyfriend, and she'd known this guy for a year, and during the time of the shutdown, and that Patti had confided to her friends that this is what she was going to be doing. Now, they had a plan. She didn't want to leave her vehicle at the Honda parking lot the whole week that she was gone. So the plan was she was going to ride with her boyfriend to the Honda plant that morning. But he told her, I'm going to be giving somebody else a ride, so why don't you go into the bed of the truck and you lay down there and nobody's going to know you're back there. And then we get there, then he'll go in, then you can get out and no one will know what's going on. And she agreed to this. In fact, she told everybody about this plan that they had come up with. Lieutenant Stiers, he stated, when she left Honda that night, the plan was for her to get under the tarp cover in the bed of her boyfriend's truck because another coworker was going to be in the car and the boyfriend didn't want other people to know he and Patti were seeing each other. Now, Patti's sister was taking care of Patti's daughter while she was gone, and when Patti didn't return, she started to get a little worried, and she thought, well, they're just running late. And then it got later and later, and she was really worried, and she started calling the boyfriend, said, where's Patti? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I barely know her. There was no relationship at all. And so Patti's sister got really defensive. Said, what did you do to Patti? Because she knew positively that Patti had gone with him. But he kept saying, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I had no relationship with her. So the police were called. And they went over to talk to the boyfriend. And the boyfriend said, I don't know her that well. I don't know about this story about her going to Canada. We didn't plan any trip. And they did a very good investigation on this. Not only did they talk to him, they talked to the wife. They also searched the house. And they found articles that Patti had given the boyfriend that the family and friends had stated that she had given the boyfriend. And they also found a love letter that Patti had given the boyfriend saying she loved him very much. She couldn't wait to be together with him. And I don't know, that seems kind of like there was a relationship there if you're coming across a letter. And there was also another thing that was dug up. So Patti had gotten a second mortgage on her house, and she'd also taken money out of her 401k. And that money that was put into her bank account, it was being withdrawn. And she said she was loaning the money to the boyfriend. She told the family friends she was loaning it to the boyfriend, and he was going to pay it back in July. Well, the police went through the boyfriend's financial records, and they could not see where he ever received any of this money. But they could see, and on Patty's financial records, where she had been withdrawing this money a little bit at a time over this year that she had known this boyfriend. Don't know if it's related or not, but they did find that he was supposed to pay it back in July, and Patty went missing in June. Now, what was interesting is they did check the bed of the truck, and they didn't find anything. There was no DNA or anything, but there was a tarp that had been on it, a brand new tarp, and they grabbed that tarp and they did testing on it, and they found cat hair, and they found a little bit of drop of blood. Now, they took the cat hair and they tested it, and it turned out that it belonged to Patty's cat. Now, I don't think she had the cat with her. I think she probably had the cat hair on her clothing, just like I have Wiggles dog hair on my clothing a lot. I'm sure Patty must have had it on her clothing, got in the back of the truck, and somehow the cat hair had attached itself to the tarp. And the blood, they did not do any testing on that blood because it was such a small amount that they would only be able to do one test. And they felt if they waited till the future when testing was better, that they have a better chance of getting the DNA that they needed from this blood. So right now we're talking about it's going to be 20 years in June that they've had this little bit of blood. I would hope that by now they could test it and they should be able to find something from it. But I don't know. They could have done it and they haven't put it out to the media yet that they've done it, or they may still be waiting to make sure that the test they do is going to get them the answers that they're hoping to get on whose blood that belonged to. Now, this case has been quiet here the last couple of years. There's been updates over the years. They've spoken to Patty's daughter, who is now grown. I want to show you a little bit of that so you can see what she has to say about the case.
And I've learned how to cope with the sadness and how to deal with it and how to not let it impede and distract me from moving on in life.
McKaylee's had the support of a loving family to help her cope as the daughter of a missing person. And while there will always be a hole in her heart, she's been able to succeed, now in grad school at Kent State University. But her goal in finally opening up after 15 years is the hope that someone will come forward with answers about her mother's disappearance.
It would be much easier to have closure if we knew exactly what had happened.
So as you may have noticed that I have talked about the boyfriend, and I've just called him the boyfriend, and that's because they have not let the name out. Even after all these years, his name still hasn't been released. I'm sure whoever worked at the Honda plant knows exactly who he is. I'm sure the family knows who he is, but the authorities, the media, they have not released his name. Now, Patty is described as 5'8" tall when she went missing, 120 pounds. And she had pierced ears, a pierced belly button, and she had a bluish green tattoo of flowers on her lower back. And if you have any information about this case, I mean, maybe you worked at the plant at that time and maybe you overheard something that you just didn't want to release at that time. Well, now it's been almost 20 years. You certainly could come forward with this information. It wouldn't matter to the police that you haven't said anything before. They just need tips and more information so they can follow up on this case. And who knows, if you had information and they went to check up on it, they might remind them that maybe this is the time to do the testing on the blood. So if you have any information on Patty's case, please call the police at 937-645-4126. And, you know, if you don't want to come forward, as always, you can always get a hold of me, and I'll take the information anonymously, and then I'll just pass it over to the police and give it to them. All right? And that's it on this case. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.